This is a secretive neo-Nazi conference.
Make no mistake, we are at war.
Attended by gym owners, coaches, trainers, networking with white supremacists that are conducting military-style drills. The topic of the event, forming disciplined groups of men who can rebuild our world amidst the coming wreckage. We obtained video, identify organizers and attendees, and expose how this movement, which often gathers in privately owned gyms, is growing in Canada.
We're just kind of trying to figure out why you were there. Hello?
White supremacist groups that recruit young men to train and fight are getting bolder, like this demonstration by Second Sons, a group led by this guy, Jeremy McKenzie.
I will do everything in my power to these people to death! Yeah!
Giving a Nazi salute here. Members of Second Sons and other groups gathered in Vancouver in July for a conference run by the Exiles of the Golden Age, a white supremacist group that's really into mixed martial arts and ancient Germanic traditions like this ritual to mark the changing of seasons, complete with a swastika. This is some of the imagery that they put on their social profiles.
Okay, they're definitely Nazis. Look at that shit. Terrible.
Now, their whole deal might be confusing if you're not familiar with their lingo, but it's all in their name. The phrase Exiles of the Golden Age comes from a text by Savitri Devi, a notorious Nazi philosopher. And in this poster for last year's conference, they call upon all men against time. The ultimate man against time? According to Devi, Adolf Hitler. Is this a far-right movement? Is this a neo-Nazi movement? What is it?
It's absolutely a neo-Nazi movement.
So the Exiles advertised the conference on social media, and the non-profit Canadian Anti-Hate Network, which tracks hate groups, took notice.
We knew that this was going to be a fairly large gathering of white nationalists and neo-Nazis in BC, so we put in place a plan to try to identify the people who would be attending this event.
The Exiles keep the location secret, first meeting at a park to vet attendees.
So once we identified the park where it was being held, we very quickly just looked at Google Maps and saw, well, where could they hold an event of this size that would be within a reasonable distance for them to reroute people. And one of the venues I saw right away was the Scottish Cultural Centre.
The Scottish Cultural Centre is on a diverse block. There's a Taiwanese Canadian Cultural Society, a mosque, and a Buddhist education center.
And we had a photographer, and they collected we had over 50 individuals' pictures who attended that event.
We go to the Scottish Cultural Centre to ask about the event, but the executive director wasn't there. Later, we call him.
So you didn't know this was a neo-Nazi gathering?
Of course not. Well, on the contract they said it's listed as a conference, and I said, you know, what's this about? So he says it's a book release. So, okay, that's fine.
Well, we looked at the books being sold, like this one, The Cultured Thug Handbook, a guide to radical right-wing thought.
The common thread seems to be, really a deeply white supremacist, male supremacist, anti-Semitic movement. This isn't just a pagan movement with an interest in the swastika or an interest in the esoteric Germanic traditions, but that they're really interested in the fascism that goes along with these.
Okay, so why focus on this event? Well, it was a meeting point for different types of white supremacists inside Canada and outside it, showing how this movement is growing and building alliances. One of the speakers, Marcus Folin, a Swedish white supremacist YouTuber.
Are you against whites having power? Then you are the anti-white extreme one.
And American Paul Wagner.
What we do is not an escapism, nor is it a fantasy. It is a war for our future. And it's a very real war for our future.
Co-founder of the Wolves of Vinland, which the Southern Poverty Law Center calls a hate group. Folin says he was stopped at the border and turned around, and Wagner decided not to try it. So they gave their talks virtually.
Canada is a totalitarian, liberal, left-wing regime. They have no interest in having a quote-unquote right-wing extremist coming to their country.
But the Canadians who were there include at least 3 people wearing Second Sons Canada uniforms, and Josh Bruce and Robertson DeChazle, co-owners of a white supremacist clothing brand.
So Rob DeChazle has been a neo-Nazi for a very long time.
Here's a photo of DeChazle wearing a shirt with the logo of the Hammerskins, a neo-Nazi organization, and on the wall behind him, the same insignia.
What we because you said it was an attendee at that event.
It was documented. There was documented number of people that were there, and you're one of those people. But I've announced
How did you
it.
get this number?
We are journalists. That's what we do.
I'm not going to answer any more questions if you can't tell me that.
After we talked to the Chazal, the exiles released a public statement telling attendees not to talk to us and said, "We have nothing to hide."
This gathering is a kind of alliance building exercise.
So we uncover well-known white supremacists and people linked to prominent groups. We also find people you might not expect. Gym owners and coaches. Here's Lane Palmer. Palmer, who sometimes goes by Lane Jackson, is an organizer according to the exiles.
Principles that are ethnically exclusive, both biologically and spiritually.
And we match his photo to the profile of a coach at West Shore Boxing Gym in Langford, BC. We also spot him in this video released by the exiles. He doesn't respond to our emails or calls, and his profile is removed from the gym's website. The gym tells us that they weren't aware of his background, and he's no longer part of the gym.
I started writing about these groups over a decade ago. At the time, very few people took me seriously.
What does it say to you that these groups and MMA gyms are coming together?
It suggests something far more sinister too, that this is deeper and more widespread than we may have initially considered.
We also find Carl Stornis Bliss. He co-owns a strength training company which frequently operates out of a gym in Mission, BC. He was also a children's coach there at one point. And in this photo on the gym's Instagram page, he shows off a tattoo of a skull symbol used by the Nazi SS. And in this photo, there's a Nazi SS symbol on the back of his helmet. We've been trying to reach him at his gym without a response.
Carl Bliss?
Stornis Bliss, yes.
But then he calls us from an anonymous number.
You were documented being there, so I'm just curious to know why you were there.
I didn't go to anything in Vancouver at a center.
Scottish Cultural Centre in Vancouver in July.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
But check this out. His right arm tattoo and this shirt match the conference footage. We call the owner of Mission BJJ.
I was led to believe this was a jiu-jitsu seminar.
When we spoke to him, he didn't remember attending anything in Vancouver in July.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because my gym has so many diverse backgrounds of Indians, Filipinos, and if I thought that we had a white supremacist there, that would... It actually blows my mind, to be honest, but...
Is he still going to be at your gym?
No, I've told him to leave the gym.
Finally, here's Ron Pierce, owner of Foundry Combat Sports in Duncan, BC. His gym teaches adults and children with diverse backgrounds. Pierce can be seen wearing the same sweater in a photo from his gym's Instagram. We try to contact him too.
We're doing some research on an event that happened this past summer in Vancouver, the Scottish Cultural Centre. We noticed that you were one of the guys that were at this event. We're just kind of trying to figure out what was going on, why you were there, and we're just curious to kind of figure out that part of it.
What do you mean?
What do you mean what I mean? Sorry, I'm confused. Hello?
Yeah, I find it extremely alarming that there would be any extremist group or fascist fight clubs showing up in Vancouver. Any group that is foundational premise is violence against others based on race are not welcome in Vancouver.
Mixed martial arts and combat sports, many of them can be significant gateways to far-right extremism. But I have to stress that it doesn't always have to be this way. There are plenty of anti-fascist and progressive-leaning mixed martial arts. This is a space they may have co-opted, but it is not a space that belongs solely to them.
We'll continue to track groups like this as they pop up across the country. If you see something like this in your community, reach out, vi@cbc.ca.